Hi, I'm Peggy with Headshots by Peggy Presents, and today I'm with Merrick McCartha. Hey, Merrick, I'm so glad that you're here.
Glad to be here, Peggy. Glad to be here.
And it's not because I bullied you into this.
It is not at all, not one bit.
So today I thought we would talk to our viewers about finding representation, because I feel like I hear a lot of people struggling with that and asking, how do I find representation? And you're kind of good at that. I think you're good at explaining some steps.
I've been through my share of agents and had my time hunting for agents multiple different ways. So I feel like I'm a little bit of an authority on finding an agent.
So representation, I mean, it's a relationship. And sometimes you find the perfect relationship and then you outgrow each other.
Yes, yes,
And sometimes you realize it's just not a perfect fit
correct,
or even a good fit.
correct.
And sometimes, I mean, we know people that have been with the same agent for like 20 years. So
Yeah.
sometimes, so I think it's like any other relationship. You shouldn't feel guilty if it's not a fit. You just keep working.
Right. And really work on not letting yourself fall into this fear aspect as an actor about not having an agent, or what happens if I lose my agent, or will I ever be able to get another agent? Um, there's so many agents, especially in the LA market. But I'm sure if you have a large amount of production where you are, you've got a good share of agents that are available to you. So keep that in mind, that you want to be careful, you want to be proactive, and you want to be systematic about how you search for your agent, when you search for your agent, and what things you are going to look for as far as the best fit for you as an actor or performer. Now, I'm saying agent, but that I also mean manager, sir. Please, those are interchangeable.
So what, if you're looking for representation, what's the first thing that what's the first thing a person should do if they're looking for representation?
First, understand where you are in your career. So you really want to figure out what where you are in your career, so that you can find the agent that is best suited to facilitate you in where you are in your career. So when I first started out as an actor, of course, I wanted to work and be repped by ICM or William Morris Endeavor or all Innovative, all these big agencies, but they would not take a first glance at me, let alone a second, because I had basically nothing on my resume, no credits to show them that I was worthy of their representation. Now, sure, there are some actors that, and these are fables, not fables, but rarities, where they come from seemingly out of nowhere and they're repped by these super large agencies. There's reasons why that happens. It's not just because, hey, they were just doing the work. No, something drastic happened with their career to make them eligible to be represented by these top agencies. So I don't want you to feel like there's something wrong if you're not getting calls or you're not getting meetings by these big agencies. If you're not, especially if you're starting out in your career. So totally fine understanding that it is a process where you're building your career over time with work, with business savvy, and just a way of building good relationships, and understanding how agents work to help you. That's another big part of it.
So when you first started out, you had an agent that really had a lot of connections for roles with, just one line, just things, and they kind of got you in the door. And then as you got more things on your resume and you got more experience and more classes and, bettered yourself at your skill, then you moved to another agent, and, and then eventually you're where you're at now. And, so how does that work? How do you go about looking to know who you should, send submissions to? How do you find out what agent, what manager should I submit to? How do you figure that out?
Well, Peggy, there are multiple ways to do that. One way that I have done, that I kind of figured out over time of how to target what agencies would be a good fit for you is to get a subscription to something called IMDb Pro. Now, most actors have a profile on IMDb, which is the International Movie Database, which is sort of the verification instrument for most people in the industry. You say you're an actor, you say you do this or that, they're going to look you up on IMDb to verify that you have done what you said you did in your career. Now, this is for film and television. This is not for stage, although you can manually add those things on your IMDb page. The only things verified are the film and television credits. So get a subscription to IMDb Pro. With that subscription, you're now able to have more visibility into the industry of who's doing what. With a regular IMDb account, you don't have that visibility. So if you have IMDb Pro, you can look up an agency and see who is on their roster, who they represent, or you can see their contact information. If you just have IMDb, the regular version, you don't have that visibility. So one starting point to do this is, and this is where Peggy comes in with her system, your headshot strategy system that you developed, which is awesome, is understanding where you are in your career. Go to IMDb Pro, do a search for the TV shows that you'd be a great fit for. You've seen these shows, these projects. I'd be awesome on this show. I have the look of this show. I have the demeanor of people on this show. Go to that show IMDb page, look up who the actors are in the cast of that show. They'll show you all the actors that have worked on that show, whether they're the series regulars or the one-liners. So depending on where you are in your career, you figure out which actors are falling into your category. So if you are guest star level, let's say, more than likely you have a full name as a character and you've been on one, maybe two shows. That's a guest star. So you go down that IMDb page, look for actors that show that they've been on one or two episodes and they have a full name, not cop number one, not nurse number two, their full name. Then click on these actors, go down the list. It could be any range of actors in that. If you want to look for actors that seem to have a certain type that you're kind of like, not exactly you, click on their profile. They'll have their agency listed. That agent, has a good relationship with the casting office of this show. That casting office also has other projects running. So you found an agent that has a verifiable relationship with the industry, with the bona fide industry. So now you've got that agency, mark it down, or if you want to go to their IMDb page themselves, they will have their address, their website, they will have the agent's names and the agent's email usually on that IMDb page. These are something that you can jot down as contact information for you to submit yourself. You also can go to the agency's website and see what their submission policies are. Perhaps they don't care for email submission, which is what I'm about to talk about. But at this day and age, most agencies are okay with it. There's some agencies that are absolutely no unsolicited submissions, only submit hard copy submissions, things like that. But that way, now what you've done is you at a starting point, go on to one show, found the actors that are your level, looked on those actors' profiles to see what agents they have. You'll see often agencies that repeat in this list. And then what agencies are out there that might be a good fit for you. Okay, that's a bare starting point.
That's good advice. So find agents that represent other talent that's at the same level as you. Don't try to go get, somebody that's, at a different level than you, higher or lower, because then, if you're trying to get series regular and your agents don't have any relationships with those casting that, then you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, it's also helping you so that you don't get burned out or you don't have these wild expectations. You want to manage that because a lot of actors, I think, come into the business thinking, okay, I'm going to be, the next Haley Joel Osment. I'm going to be the next big star right away off the bat. And by and large, it really doesn't happen that way. Even though you see actors that look like they came from out of nowhere, they've done a lot of work, had a lot of training, and have a lot of things that have worked for them to get to where they are. So I know you want to make it big. I know you want to be a big star right away. I know you got it, but you still got to put in the work. You got to put in the time, and you have to start building your relationship with casting.
Absolutely. So is there any other tips or advice you think they should know?
Oh, sure. As far as looking for an agent, I would say there's another tool called Actors Link, Talent Link, that is a part of Actors Access. If you have an Actors Access subscription, they have a feature where you can go into something called Talent Link, where you can post that you are looking for representation. Lots of managers and agents will monitor this Talent Link tool, and they will see new actors pop up. A lot of times, you'll get, actor representatives, agents, managers that will reach out to you right away, about a handful, when you first sign on. By and large, these are reps that are really in need of more talent on their roster. They may or may not have a fairly good relationship with casting as of yet. They're trying to build their business. You just want to be aware of that. It's not a bad thing. You can meet with them, talk, see who they are. Maybe they just came from another agency. They're starting up anew. That's fine. But that's another way to do it. That would also apply to any agent that you meet, whether it's through Talent Link or not. You want to look at who's on their roster and see what's going on with them when you meet with them.
And then definitely meet with them, because you want to know if you gel, if you have that, chemistry that, you can work together, because acting is a team effort.
It is.
And you want to have a good relationship with your representation. Now, what does a good relationship with your representation mean?
Well, a good relationship means that you're both on the same page of what your goals are as an actor, and that you're both fully supportive of achieving that goal, and that you have an understanding of how to communicate with each other. It doesn't mean that you're subservient and should be afraid of your agent or manager. It doesn't mean that they should be subservient or afraid of you. You're working together, and please be careful with how you communicate with them, because it's not about tiptoeing around them. It's just about being professional, being decent and professional to them, like you would any other business person. Because as team members in this business, that's what you are, business people. So keep that in mind. Now I'll step back a little bit, because I think we skipped over the part about submissions. Can we talk about submissions?
Absolutely.
All right. So submissions are the way that you informally introduce yourself to agents or managers. With your submission, you want to include a brief letter to them and a headshot that is basically what you're claiming to be. So if you say you're telling them that you're this big superstar, and your headshot is like, your next door neighbor's little sister took a photo of you when you were in the backyard, they're going to know that's not the case. So you want to have a good, solid, professional headshot that represents who you are trying to tell them you are as an actor. Now, that letter that you write them needs to be short. It needs to be short. Really it can't short. Be long. I know you want to tell them your life story about how amazing you are, and where you came from in your life, and where you're going, and how deep and intellectual you are. All that stuff is fantastic for the meeting when you meet them in person, not during the letter when you're trying to introduce yourself and get the meeting. Briefly tell them what kind of connections you have. Briefly tell them what kind of background you have. Tell them how you briefly see yourself as an actor, as far as what you can do. And then let them know. They'll know already, but kind of professionally let them know that you'd be open to meeting with them. That's it. Include a copy of your awesome headshot. Include a copy of your current resume or reel if you have any, and email it off. That's it. Don't sweat it. And realize that a lot of times agents might not see this email. They may not want to look at it. They may not get to it for a while. Don't let that bother you. If you email off 10, maybe 15 agents a week, and you get 1 or 2 responses, that's fantastic. Those people that didn't respond to you, you can email them again in the next 3 to 6 months. That's totally fine. Unless they tell you don't, it's really okay. The agents are busy people, and they don't get to really look through emails. And sometimes at that moment, they may not need you, but later on, they might. So don't give up if you sent out one submission and don't hear back. It doesn't mean that it's a hard no. It means maybe they just either didn't see it or don't need you right now.
But again, 3 to 6 months, not 3 to 6 days.
Correct.
And, brief. I'm going to reiterate that, because I talk to a lot of agents, a lot of managers, and they're not there to read a book. They're busy. they're busy submitting their talent and you want to be their talent. You want them to be busy submitting you. So don't clog up that. Just a quick something to entice them to want to get to know you. You can go into all your amazing stuff in your in-person meeting or Zoom meeting, however it's done right now.
Absolutely. So you've got that down. Realize keeping it brief, great headshot, resume, and reel. Send that off. Now, on those occasions where you do get the meeting, this is where you're going in person. And by and large, if you get the meeting, they're open to signing you. They just want to make sure you're not crazy. That's all. And I say crazy in all most non-abusive sense. I just mean that they know that you know how to conduct yourself professionally in a professional environment, so that when they send you off to a casting office for an audition, you're not going to show up for an audition for a police officer with a real gun. These kind of things. They want to make sure that you have the right mindset. So just be personable, be yourself, be professional, be prepared to answer questions about your career, be prepared to even maybe do some readings of a scene. For theatrical reps, tend to not ask you to do any monologues in their office. It can happen. For a commercial rep, they may ask you to read some commercial copy just to see how you handle it, because commercials often, when you audition for a commercial, you don't know what the copy is until you show up. So you have to be able to pick it up right away and kind of be able to know and understand and go with it. So those are the kind of things that commercial agents are looking for, people that can do that. Otherwise, was I leaving anything out?
No, but you started to bring up a good point. So I'll just throw this out.
Thank you, Peggy.
A lot of times it's tougher to get a theatrical agent than it is a commercial agent. And if you're just starting out and you need representation, maybe consider getting a commercial agent to start. And then once they see how good you're doing, a lot of times they have a theatrical branch in their office. And then you can, after some time say, hey, would you guys like to rep me across the board? So that's kind of a way, if you're having troubles finding that theatrical, get started. And commercials are fun. They
are, and we could have a whole other show about
commercials,
the commercial versus theatrical, and why actors think they shouldn't have a commercial agent. Listen, if you're trying to get representation, you're trying to get a foothold in the business, the key is visibility and building relationships. And if you don't have a theatrical background, commercial is much easier for you if you've got a great look and a great improv talent to find an agent than it will theatrically. You can be an amazing actor theatrically. If you don't come from a top school or have some indie film that won Cannes, you're not going to get much notice from a theatrical agent if you don't have anything else on your resume. For the commercial agent, they don't really care if you don't have anything. They want to know that you've got some training in improv, that you're personable, that you can pick things up quickly. And that's all they're looking for, really. You've got a good look, and that's it. So I would recommend going heavy-handed on the commercial agent submissions if you're just looking for some representation to get you going, because commercials can pay the bills. So don't shy away from that. And commercials are a start for a lot of actors. A lot of actors, you've seen a lot of films, a lot of TV shows have gotten their start doing commercials. So it's not small potatoes, and it's certainly not something that makes you less than as an actor because you do a lot of commercials.
Yeah. Very good. Anything else you think we should say? Do you think we covered it pretty good?
Let's see. I feel like we might. As far as getting representation, that's really, keep in mind, manage your expectations, really understand who you are. I know someone who has this program where you can really figure that out, and they also do headshots. So
a shameless plug for the headshot strategist.
Since you invited me on your show today, Peggy, I thought I would mention how awesome your latest service is for actors.
It is a new service, and I haven't talked about it on the show. I've mentioned it casually, but I have this whole entire program, and it's called the Headshot Strategist, but it's really the actor's career strategist. Like, it really helps actors pin down where they're at in their career, where they need to be, where they want to go, and helps you kind of figure out what steps you need to take to get there. It's basically asking you the questions that you forget to ask yourself. So yeah. So if you're interested, give me a call and I'll tell you all about it. Anything else you want to tell? Thanks for the plug.
That's it for me.
All right, guys. So if you have any questions, please leave tons of comments in the comment section, and I will make sure that we get back to you and we answer your questions. Also, as always, I appreciate it when you share. This is now a podcast. So if you're a podcaster, you like listening to podcasts, please find Headshots by Peggy Presents and subscribe, because that helps right now. And I'm everywhere you listen to your favorite podcast. I'm on YouTube, on my website, and on Facebook. So share this all over the place. But most importantly, have an amazing week. I'll see you next week. And thank you for coming.
Thanks for inviting me.
Text or call today so that we can get you effective headshots that you can use as part of your marketing strategy. Headshots by Peggy, how can I help you?